strong message to the European Council and to the European citizens. And the best way we can do that is to vote massively the resolution we have prepared for this session. And not to start to say, oh, this or this, I don't like it. What is now politically important is a massive vote in favour of that resolution. And my last thing will be to Mr. Farage, saying that I'm shocked, Mr. Farage. You are presenting yourself here as a defender of the little man, the hard worker, while you have an offshore financial construction. I don't think that all citizens have offshore financial constructions in Britain. But, okay, let's be positive.
A terror group which organize itself on a territory. They have some substantial resources. They are striving on smuggling of oil, drug, human beings. And since the beginning of the year,
So today what I would like to do is focus on the economic dimension, which is our core expertise. Now some people might wonder what the IMF has to do with refugee crisis. Well, it has a macroeconomic dimension to it. Let me start by placing the refugee surge in the context of overall migration. Cross-border migration has risen steadily over the last 3 decades and has reached now 250 million people. Migrants are now 3% of the global population. Inflows of refugees are also up sharply.
That will be taken totally independent. Let me state this very clearly. We in Germany, as you know, have this long tradition of time and again stressing that the ECB is independent and should be independent, but as a politician, no matter what, I would say, no matter what sort of decision the ECB will take, we should not become diverted.
Of the unemployed having been out of work for 6 months or more, that's not an acceptable situation. That's a situation where there's too many people whose skills and talents are being wasted, who are suffering significant hardships. So we're looking to see improvement in the labor market and in the economy more broadly. So we'll continue to evaluate. I can't give you specific criteria except to say that we'll be assessing the impact of our actions on financial market conditions and looking to see how those link up to
serve in this institution, to share the concerns of so many dedicated people, and to realize that every great achievement was a vision before it became a reality. And it is a great privilege to see how this vision has turned into a reality. Thank you very much.
And men and women of the finest military in the world. And most of all, Admiral Mullen, Deborah. Michael and I also want to acknowledge your son Jack, who's deployed today. all of you have performed extraordinary service to our country. Before I begin, I want to say a few words about some important news. Earlier this morning,
Madam Secretary, can you...
Andrea, thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Can you explain how you decided which of the personal emails to get rid of, how you got rid of them and when, and how you'll respond to questions about you being the arbiter of what you release? And secondly, could you answer the questions that have been raised about foreign contributions from Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia that abuse women or permit violence against women to the Family Foundation, and whether that disturbs you as you are rightly celebrating 20 years of leadership on this issue?
Well, those are two very different questions. Let me see if I can take them in order. And I'll give you some of the background. In going
about a new world order, about a defining moment in history, I have no doubt about the potential of this moment to be defining in terms of history. But that definition can be negative as well as positive. And how negative or positive it will be will depend on what kind of new world order we really create. Can it truly be said that the United States of America
actually political, and we've been focusing here on only on the economy, and I think we would make a big mistake not to consider the political situation globally. That's really...
You're not just talking about George Osborne not getting re-elected in May. This is something else.
No, I'm talking about, for instance, the threat posed by Russia, a resurgent Russia. The European public and apparently many of the leaders are not sufficiently aware of that danger. And
I was really interested in what she did, because she has this almost magical way of taking extremely ordinary objects. Let's take the high-heeled shoes. They're made out of pots and pans. But somehow, in her hands and with her team, they get changed into something which is very beautiful,